when you spin this quickly under the light, what you see is flash. That's really actually really cool. And I did not know that. And this is why we do this, so that we can both learn something. Hey everyone, Noah and Owen from Rarity 7 here, back with part 4 of our series. Thanks for sticking with us through all this. It's kind of fun. In this part, we're going to go through some peace dollars, some gold, and some commemoratives. There's a really, really nice group of coins. So with that, let's jump into the coins. First up in this group, we have a peace dollar. This is a 1922 peace dollar, but this does not look like a regular 1922 peace dollar. You'll note that this coin has actual real rainbow toning, both in the fields, around the edges. And, you know, I bought this coin because toned peace dollars are actually kind of special. Even subtle toning around the borders like this is incredibly special on these coins. And Owen, you and I were talking a little bit about why color on peace dollars. You know, Morgan dollars, you see, you know, it gets expensive. There's lots of colorful Morgan dollars out there, but you know, they're relatively common. You don't see a lot of color on peace dollars. Why is that?
Yeah, there's a pretty simple explanation behind that, and it's that the planchets for peace dollars, meaning the blanks that these coins were struck on, were treated differently than those used for Morgan dollars. When the mint started producing peace dollars, they released a new rinse for the planchets, a new acid rinse, aimed at kind of sterilizing the planchets and ensuring that they didn't tarnish much in storage and in bank bags and things like that. And they really knocked it out of the park with the rinse that they use on the acid wash, because you rarely ever find peace dollars toned. If you put this color on a Morgan dollar, it'd still be pretty, but it wouldn't really be that impressive. But on a peace dollar like this, it means something completely different.
Well, thank you. That's really actually really cool. And I did not know that. And this is why we do this, so that we can both learn something, or at least we both, being me and the audience, because you kind of know everything about coins already. So. That's that. All right. Well, that peace dollar will go to a non-colorful peace dollar. One of the better dates. You know, we kind of have a theme here of S-Mint coins because we are based in the Bay Area, and I've got an affinity for S-Mint stuff. So here's a 28S. You found this coin, Owen. This is in a CACG MS63 holder, and this was a nice pull. You showed this to me when you found it, and I was like, absolutely great looking coin, and one of the better dates. I really like it.
Yeah, this one stood out to me because 28S dollars just seem to always have a bit of a catch to them. There's always like some gnarly reed mark in the left field, or the strike is really terrible. They have like subdued luster or something. But this one's just like a pleasant, mid-grade uncirculated example approved by CAC. So I was happy to add this one to inventory.
I've noticed that too, and it's a really nice looking one. We'll now move to your personal favorite series. We always seem to stock a lot of gold dollars because I know you have an affinity for them. You have definitely gotten me addicted to them. And in particular, Type 2 gold dollars are really fun. Short-lived series that we learned recently we learned ourselves from doing research that it's not just 1854 and 1855, but 56S Type 2 dollars exists, and that is one we are definitely going to have to look for. In fact, we saw one recently in a dealer box, and we both flagged it because, we said, hey, look, this is 56S. And it just sucked. It was not good enough to get for you guys. So we had to pass on it. But here's a 55 Type 2, the Caleb Lewis collection. Not sure what that is. This is an MS62 with CAC approval and an NGC holder. Owen, does this meet the mark for your quality level of gold dollar? Yeah, definitely. There's a few things I look for when I'm looking at a gold dollar. I've said it before in this channel over and over. You want to make sure the color is good. So this coin here is like this really rich, deep, kind of like dark yellow gold color. That's a really good sign. You don't want to see a brassy, kind of new looking yellow gold thing. That's indicative of at best chemical treatment to make it brighter, perhaps something much worse. And second to that, I don't know why, but a lot of gold dollars have scratches. I don't really have a logical explanation to offer as to why that is. But I feel like on most raw gold dollars, you can find a scratch somewhere on them. And that translates to a lot of certified, even straight graded examples. So again, there's a coin without any catch to it. Pleasant color, great surfaces, nice luster, CAC approval. A really nice example of a short series. We'll move to another MS62 CAC approved gold dollar. This one type 3 later. Here is a 86, also MS62, also CAC approval. And one of the things you and I talked about recently, we were looking at some MS62 gold dollars that didn't quite make the mark in terms of being an actual MS62. I think like an MS62 Morgan dollar and an MS62 gold dollar are going to look quite different. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
It's the bag marks that you're going to see in like a Morgan dollar versus the kind of general, what is it? Just friction,
It's kind of just like some mishandling is maybe the best way to describe it on something like this.
And I think one of the things that CAC looks for on both of these gold dollars are not, actual worn, circulated coins like you'll see a lot of. These are, just slight friction on the coin, not so prominent that, CAC is going to not like them, but just enough to bring it down from, a higher or gem grade on one of these coins. We'll move to the quarter Indian, $2.50. This is a 1915 and MS64 with CAC approval. Now I'm going to do something which we've gotten feedback not to do. I'm going to spin this coin a little more quickly because I want to point out something that Owen actually taught me about how to grade these coins, right? When you spin this quickly under the light, what you see is flash and cartwheel luster. And Owen, is that important on the Indians?
Yeah, I'd say it's the single most important factor when it comes to grading these. This is perhaps the series I struggled with the most, learning to really nail down when I was grading professionally at PCGS. And the way that it was described to me by a senior grader there is luster, luster, luster. So when it comes to these Incus Gold series, the fields just simply aren't abraded like other gold coins are. Because of the Incus design, they just tend to gather marks a little bit differently. And none of them really look perfect. If you sit here and try to quantify the abrasions of this coin, you're not going to arrive at the correct number. Kind of the luster and arm's length flash of Incus Gold is the best, indicator of its true grade. So a coin like this, as soon as I look at the luster on this one, I can just tell that's easily a 64, maybe even better.
These coins, spin them. Really make sure you get under a good bright light and look for that luster. And if the luster looks flat or a little muted, that's where you're going to be in the 63, 62 level on these. And if you get some real flash, that's where you're going to hit the 64, 65 and beyond. Well, we'll move on to $3 and we'll go back to our theme of fun S-Mint coins. Here's an 1856S in an NGC AU50. I will admit we are a little biased occasionally against modern graded NGC coins because you do, all those things that Owen has talked about looking for the wrong color or the wrong surfaces. You do tend to see a lot of that in these mid-grade NGC coins. They just don't come nice a lot of the time. This coin is an exception, right? I think we both agree that this coin did not meet those negative criteria normally that we see on AU NGC gold.
Yeah, I agree with you. When it comes to coins like this, sometimes when I pick them up, I'm kind of just looking for the problem. And I look for it on this one, but it just struck me as like a textbook AU coin. It's got the right amount of luster. It's got the right amount of detail. If it were XF, it would have less peripheral luster and considerably more wear. So I think this is just a textbook low AU coin. So we're happy to offer this one.
All right, now we'll move into a $5 gold coin, and man, what a nice $5 gold coin this is. Draped bust, this is the Rarity 7. We're trying to make it our signature series of all denominations of fun Draped bust, and here is an 1800 Draped bust 5, PCGS AU50. Look at some of that color. I'll tell you guys the story about this coin. I bought this at the Irvine show last week or 2 weeks ago, and there was a little battle in the room for this show. There was a guy who showed up. This came from an old collection, and it was he walked the room and he made sure that everyone in that room looked at this coin, and we were all really excited. And I don't know whether I paid too much or I charmed my way into buying it, but it was really fun to have won that deal. And I got this coin, and a whole bunch of guys came up to me and said, "Oh, congrats for getting that. That's a really cool coin." And I think it would be. They all said basically, good on you for getting that one. So I'm super excited by this. And Owen, I bought this while you were not at this show. So did I do all right getting this one?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy with this one. During my time at PCGS, while grading, you would encounter a fair amount of early gold. You know, you'd grade it on a daily basis, and most of it was severely damaged. There's a lot of pieces out there that were in jewelry at one point in time, or they have holes in them, or repairs or tooling. So to see a nice, wholesome, original piece of early gold is always a treat. This is a pretty low mintage example. About 37,000 of these were struck originally. A lot were lost due to commerce and time. So it's rare in any condition, let alone in problem-free AU.
Well, now let's go to $10 gold. And this is a very important date for $10. This is an 1854S. PCGS AU58 with CAC approval. This is the first year that the San Francisco Mint formally was in operation as the San Francisco Mint. You should all read David McCarthy and Don Kagan's book to learn about the history of the gold rush and the early mints and the Assay and all the different organizations that were out in San Francisco at that time. But in 1854 is when the actual San Francisco Mint, United States branch mint, opened up. And of those coins, the 1854S quarter eagle 250 and the $5 half eagle are insanely rare coins. The $5, there's actually only two known pieces from PCGS. It's a $2 million coin. It's one of the great rarities of the United States Mint. And the quarter eagle, the 250, is also incredibly rare and valuable. The 20 is a pretty expensive coin. The 10 is the most available of all the coins made for commerce in that year. And they the mintage, I think, was over 100,000 on these, so they're more available. It's still not an inexpensive coin. This is going to be a $8,000 or $9,000 coin, as far as I recall, and especially in this nice condition. AU58 with CAC approval. But this is the first 1854S piece that we've owned, and it's exciting because it's a really nice one, and it's a very, very, very important date. So I'm super, super excited to offer this coin.
Yeah, we're always happy to add 1850 San Francisco Mint coins to the inventory. 54S is kind of a legendary date for most gold coins. No, I think you forgot about my favorite series for a moment, gold dollars. Those are a little bit more available than this coin.
I did forget about gold dollars. You were right. Thank you for reminding me. And I expect you, as being the gold dollar master, to correct me on that. So thank you.
So these are just a bit more common than those. But all gold coins from San Francisco in 1854 are at best challenging, and most of them are outright rare. So this one represents a nice, large, hefty piece of gold from that mint and era that's still relatively affordable, at least compared to the other ones.
Okay, well, we'll move to Denver now. We'll go to a $20 gold coin. Here is a 13D MS64 Saint PCGS OGH. Owen, you found this coin. What was notable, you found this at a local coin shop that you go to near where you live, and it's a great resource. And we will not reveal the name because then everyone else will go there. This one, I'm exceedingly happy with the look on this coin.
I'm not a big fan of common date Saints. I think they're generally a lot of money for a kind of an unimpressive coin. But this one stood out to me. It was different. It's a cool date, cool mint mark. Very cool holder, and the coin is just fantastic. It's no problems, like you pointed out. There's no putty. Putty is kind of like a film that some people can apply to gold coins to kind of subdue some kind of underlying problem or maybe abrasions. Like Noah said, it plagues coins from this era and even those certified in this era. So it doesn't have any of that. It's just no catches to it. It's just a really cool, rock solid Saint.
Okay, so now we'll move to the East Coast, and we'll look at a really interesting piece of territorial gold. This is a Bechtler, 1842 to 1850, a gold dollar that was made in response to the gold rush on the East Coast, the Carolina gold rush. And the same story applies. They found gold and they needed it for commerce, and the mint didn't have an easy way of getting coinage down there. So entrepreneurs sprung up, and the most successful entrepreneurs are actually, ironically, the most common coins because, the coins were made for a long time. So the Bechtlers produced coins for quite a while. It's a family business. These were struck by Augustus Bechtler somewhere between 1842 and 1850. Very, very simple design. It just says Carolina Gold, 27G on the obverse. And it just says A Bechtler, $1. And that's it. A very, very simple design. Highly collectible coins for Pioneer and Territorial Gold enthusiasts. This is the first time that we've had a Bechtler. Tons of different coins and different denominations to collect. I believe the $1 is one of the most accessible and reasonably priced ones. This one's mint state, which is, I think, kind of cool. But I encourage everyone to do some reading and learn. Maybe, Owen, you and I can kind of do a deep dive on some Pioneer and Territorial stuff at some point. But anyway, like a super fun piece, and it goes with our little gold dollar affinity, Yeah.
There's no, like you mentioned, there's no such thing as affordable Territorial Gold, but there is entry-level options. And this is one of them. If you want to buy an uncirculated piece of Territorial Gold, this is probably one of your best bets. So it's still within the realm of achievability for a lot of serious collectors. Whereas many types of Territorial Gold pieces are going to be high 5 figures or even into the 6 figures for uncirculated pieces. So I think this represents a cool and well-preserved piece of gold for the money.
Let's move to the coolest coin that we have owned in a very long time. I'm going to have to lift some weights in order to pick this coin up. This is not an entry-level piece of Territorial Gold, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 1852 887 US Assay $50 gold coin, otherwise known as a Slug. This coin is an absolute beast. CAC approval, an unbelievably wonderful color on this coin. It is 2.5 ounces of gold. It costs a lot more than its gold weight, I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you the story about this coin. Owen, I'd like to hear some of the numismatic, details on this. I'll tell you how I got it. I bought this as a trade with another dealer. We did a big deal in Irvine last week, and there was a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I was lucky enough to get this coin in trade with a bigger deal. And I sent a picture of it to a friend of mine who I know is into this kind of cool stuff, and he literally laughed when I sent it to him. He's like, "That was literally my coin that I showed you a few months ago," and he had bought this and traded it in for another coin that he needed. And I remember when he showed it to me, I said, "It's one of the nicest slugs that I've ever seen." And then I posted a picture of it on Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this in my story. And then someone else reached out to me and told me that they worked at the coin shop where this coin came in raw. It was a coin shop in Maine about a year or two ago, and it came in raw, and they got it graded and stickered. So I somehow managed to step into the full history of this coin. But Owen, tell us a little bit about slugs, man. I mean, why is this a good one? Why is the CAC approved? Like, tell us.
Yeah, first, despite being circulated, this coin has an absolutely great appearance. So slugs are plagued by a lot of issues. One, they're really heavy coins that often spend time around each other. So imagine if you dropped another one of these things onto the face of this. It's going to leave this like giant, nasty crater. So on most circulated slugs, you're going to see these really, really ugly, gnarly abrasions on them. And this one definitely has some ticks throughout, but there's nothing that like ruins the coin. The edges also, you got to think if this coin is dropped on its edge, they're really prone to getting these giant rim bumps. And not only is that a problem because rim bumps look bad, but historically nefarious coin dealers love to file off big rim bumps. And these are often very dirty, so they're subjected to cleaning. When I would grade these, I would be very surprised oftentimes if one was actually straight graded. Most of these slugs that remain today raw are problem coins. So to see one like this that served its purpose and circulated, but avoided any kinds of damage or being played with over time and was kept originals is really amazing and an absolute treat.
In the 1850s in San Francisco, there was a lot of cobblestone. We didn't have nice paved streets. And imagine, you're just carrying this down, you're heading down to go pay your custom duties, and, you jingle it and it drops and lands on its edge on a cobblestone. That's how you're going to get these huge, soft gold, big rim dings on them. So you just see so many of these with these big problems. And this is just notable for being a, presentable, nice colored, but yet circulated, which means it somehow luckily made its way through commerce, for years and didn't end up getting, completely hammered and smashed. So a spectacular example of a slug, the second one that we've ever owned, by far the nicest one, probably the nicest one that we'll own for a long time. I imagine, there aren't a lot of CAC approved slugs out there, and very, very excited to own this. So a really, really wonderful addition for us. All right. Well, it's hard to follow that act, so we're not even going to try. We're going to go directly into Commems now. The last 4 coins that we have to offer you guys today. The first one, a relatively common coin with a really nice sticker on it. This is an Iowa. Iowas, I think, are relatively inexpensive coins. They come really nice. I remember you taught me that, kind of default starting grade on any Iowa or any Commem is going to be 66, 67 or better. But this one has a gold sticker. So this is a really, really flashy one. And I think it looks nicer than a 66, Owen. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Like you pointed out, Iowas were just really well made and historically very well preserved. So an enormous portion of them exist today in choice gem uncirculated grades. So this one, to me, I don't see anything that stops me from getting to 67 on this one. It's got the right luster that you want to see. There's no scratches or read marks or anything that's precluding it from 67. So this one, I definitely agree with the gold sticker on this one.
Here's a Spanish trail in 66 CAC. And I remember I had a Spanish trail recently that we sold. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's like really not a terribly appealing looking coin. And I think your response to me was they all look terrible. And why is it that Spanish trails just look bad?
I'm not really sure. I think most of them are just not struck with a very brilliant finish. They're a pretty scarce coin. The mintage of these is just a little over 10,000, which is really, really low for a US half dollar. But they just didn't come off the press looking too great. And then I don't know why, but a lot of them just seem to be stored improperly, which leaves them looking dull or not great. And then a lot of them are subsequently dipped, which makes them even more dull looking. So most of these I would best describe as just like tired looking.
Right.
I think you probably picked this one out because the luster. I mean, this looks like Walking Liberty half dollar luster or something. This doesn't look like a Spanish trail.
Yeah, and I mean, you taught me like these look so bad in general. And when I saw this one, I said, wow, that's a Spanish trail that actually looks really terrific. We'll move on to another one of my favorite Commems. I don't have any connection to Texas whatsoever, and there's no legitimate reason why I should like Texas Commems so much, but I just love Texas Commems. I think they're incredibly good looking coins. When they come nice, they come really nice, and they have this kind of really nice satiny luster that they seem to develop these great skins. And so this is an NGC 7 Plus. I sent it off to CAC, got the sticker on the coin because I just love the look of the coin. I'm glad CAC approved. They've almost got like this high relief look to them, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Texas Commems are one of my favorite U.S. coin designs. I think they're just absolutely stunning, especially the reverse there. And also, they do definitely tend to come nice. They can often come with these, beautiful kind of silky, very attractive hazes to them. And this is a good example of that. So I think this coin is just a drop-dead original choice gem.
All right, well, we've reached the end. We've come to the final coin that we're going to show in this amazing group of new coins. This is a Vancouver in 67 with CAC approval. I mean, just like a colorful, really nice looking Vancouver, a fun looking coin, right up at the alley of CAC approved coins. And if you're building a Commem set, I think this will, especially a CAC approved Commem set, this will go very, very nicely in your set. All right, well, that is the conclusion of our new coin extravaganza. Owen, thank you for joining. If you are watching this on YouTube, I appreciate it. And that means that you probably should head over to our website, take a look at some of these coins, see what's still available. If you have somehow made it to the very end of this and you're still watching this, I commend you. Thank you. Stop by our table, tell us that you actually watched this, and say hello. And we'll look forward to seeing you. Owen, thank you for joining and going through all these awesome new coins with me.